because I have a kid who's special needs, and I was looking for resources and answers, and I couldn't find them. So I decided that there was an open in my market. So I became the first in my niche to actually do this.
Aloha, everyone. This is Irene Nakamura with Talk Story Studios. Talk Story with Irene. Mind your own business. It's a show about entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs, by entrepreneurs. You know, today I have a special guest. This is Matilda Tart, aka Tilda.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Well, tell me, what is your business?
So I own Blue Butterfly Writing LLC. I am a cognitive tool occupational specialist. I also write international children's books for kids that are on the spectrum, and it's good for adults as well. And I own my own cognitive tool line.
That's incredible. What else do you do?
So I also host events in the Allen and Dallas, Texas area for special needs community and for disabled veterans. So my books and my cognitive tool line, I've created an ecosystem with that so that way people have resources that have family members that are on special needs, they're on the spectrum, or they're disabled veterans like myself. So my tools and my books actually help them out, help them function in society, and help them with stress and anxiety.
So how does those two businesses mesh?
The way the two businesses mesh is that I built my own brand and I've collaborated them together, meaning that I write my own books, I publish my own books, I design all the digital graphics in my books, I edit my books, I do everything from beginning to end and did all the branding. And with that, I tied it in with my cognitive tool line, which is tools that help for stress, anxiety, and for people with special needs so that way they can relax, calm down, and it helps give parents answers on, I have a kid that's special needs. What do I do? How do I help them out? It gives parents their free time back. Having a special needs child like myself, I built my business and my brand because I have a kid who's special needs. And I was looking for resources and answers, and I couldn't find them. So I decided that there was an open in my market. So I became the first in my niche to actually do this, to find a way to help parents like myself get some of their time back.
That is a really helpful tool. Can you give us kind of an example of a cognitive tool that you have?
So an example of one of my cognitive tools is I have this glow in the dark ball, which is one of the most popular tool on my line. And what it does is it glows in the dark and it has little spikes on it, but it's not prickly spikes. So you can actually push the spikes in and it helps reduce anxiety and stress. And when you take it and roll it in your hands, the ball hits different pressure points. So if you rub it really light, you can actually feel it in your back and then you feel it in your feet. But when you push it really hard, you can actually feel it in the spine and you can feel it down your arms. So what it does is it hits different pressure points. So with my cognitive tools, each one targets a specific area that helps you with anxiety and stress. So not one tool on my tool line is the same unless it's a different color that's on the same line. Other than that, each one targets a different area of stress and anxiety to help kids and disabled veterans out to help them de-stress.
That's a really great tool because I think especially special needs, they don't always know how to deal with the stress or anxiety, and it's a great tool just to have them even calm down, right? And parents don't know what to do
Exactly.
to calm their children down, right?
Yes.
Even when they become adults.
Exactly. So one of the things I love about my cognitive tool line is that it helps with the stress, it helps with the anxiety, and it helps them to calm down in a moment. So when a parent is having a child who's having what I call a quote unquote episode and what other people call a bad moment, you can actually give them a cognitive tool in that moment. You can train them just kind of like you can a pet. You train them with one specific cognitive tool and you give it to them when they're having a moment of anxiety, stress, say they're terrorizing the place, because a lot of kids with special needs do. My kid did. You give them that tool in that moment, they stop doing whatever they're doing because they're single threaded. And what happens is whatever they're doing, boom, they stop. They go straight for that tool. After a minute, you ask them for that tool back. They give it back to you. Now, whatever they were doing, they're done. Now you can take the time to speak to your child about what happened in that moment, figure out what happened, and then figure out what terrorized them in that moment. What I learned as a parent of a special needs child is that when those items or those things happened to my son, it was because he was scared. He has sensory issues with his eyes, his hearing, his vision. There were all these things that were going on with him. And so my book's actually go into detail about all these different possible diagnoses that your kid has in one single resource. So that way you're not looking for answers. You can see patterns in your kid. And there's nothing like it on the market. And I created it because didn't exist. And all the stress that I went through with my kid, everything that I had to learn from my child, I put it in the book so that way other parents don't have to go through the same stress and anxiety and the worry that I did. And some of the items on my cognitive tool lines are for the parents as well to help them relax so that way they can get some of their time back. So if their kid goes to bed early, those parents get an hour or two back to themselves. If that kid is terrorizing the space, you give them that cognitive tool in that moment. Whatever they were doing, that will usually take 20 or 30 minutes to calm them down, sometimes even an hour. Because there were times where it took me an hour to calm my kid down. Giving him that cognitive tool in that moment, boom, immediately stopped him from doing whatever he was doing, and I was able to redirect him safely. And as a parent, we want our kids to always be safe. But when there's special needs, there are times where they may not be safe and they may harm themselves or others. But these tools help them to de-stress. And the great part about my tool line is it IAP and 504 approved. So that means if your kid is on a plan with the school, they can actually bring my cognitive tools to school with them and daycare, and they can't say that they can't have it. And the parent, all they have to do is add that to their IEP and 504 plan and say that they have cognitive tools to be utilized in the classroom, and they will have to use them. So they can't say they're not being used, and it's federal. So it's not just state. So parents, you're allowed to utilize these in the classrooms and daycare with your kids. So this is federal. Like I said, it's not just a state regulation, it's a federal regulation. So your child is allowed to bring these items. I have pencils, I have pens, which are great, and those are actually approved for standardized testing. So your child can actually use the pencil on my line and utilize that for their standardized testing. And they can't take the tool away from the child because it helps them to de-stress. So they're sitting there taking a test and they're stressed out. They can actually play with the top of the cognitive tool because it's a stress ball at the top. And it helps them de-stress. Exactly. It actually helps them to relax in that moment. And so all of these tools, my son has test driven every last one of them. And I have over 45 cognitive tools on my line. So I have an extensive line. I have various colors for boys, girls, nutrisex, and everything. So my tool line is tailored towards everyone. And it's not just for special needs. It's for anybody who has stress, who has anxiety. I have massage items. I have eye masks that actually have Bluetooth technology so that way you can sit and relax and listen to whatever you're listening to, and it stays charged for 8 hours and it's blacked out too. So I have different tools on my line that you can utilize, even golfing items as well, which are actually cognitive tools, you guys, that you can utilize and actually write them off on your taxes, and you can actually write them off as part of Medicaid Part B. I have an article that's coming out on that, so you can use the code for that so you can get reimbursed from Medicaid. And then also for disabled veterans, there's a place that you can go to the VA and get reimbursed for cognitive items as well. So I have an article that's coming out on that, so you can utilize reimbursement and also HSA reimbursement as well. So anything that's cognitive that you purchase off my tool line could be reimbursed back to you. And if you have any questions, they can always reach out to me as well.
You know what? I think they will have questions because this is a really important topic. Yeah, I'm really glad that you addressed it. And I think they will have questions. Where can they contact you for questions?
So I have a code, which is BBWLLC. You can text it to 26786 and you can get a copy of my newsletter that is informative, that'll give you information on different facial expressions. Also, they can reach me on social media at Tilda Tard, or they can reach me at bluebutterfly.myshopify.com or bluebutterflywriting.com.
I know you said you had an article. What are some projects that you're working on that is coming up?
So I'm actually going to be on a show called Inside Success Women in Power. I'm so excited. So that should be coming out towards the end of the summer. So I'm excited about that. Also, I just got offered my own network TV show on Zandra Network TV. So I'm going to have my own TV show coming out. I'll have about 6 episodes on Zandra Network TV. I'm also going to be on Zandra Network TV for her Go Shop America. So you will see me on that. My third book just got released last week. So a week ago today, you guys are first to hear it. My third international book just came out. The great part is all my books are international and they can buy them online in every different language in every country in this world. So it's not just here in America. Anyone in any country can buy my books and it's translated in their language. So that I'm excited about as well.
You know what? Why don't you give us the titles of your books?
So my first book is called For Little Sunshine under the Little Sunshine series. The second one is Sunshine, How Am I Feeling Journal, which is a journal that helps them with 7 facial expressions. And my third one that just came out last week is called Little Sunshine's Daily Routine. And so that actually goes over kind of my son's daily routine and what goes on with him. And then other parents can see the routine of their kids. And each one of my books are not just a kid's book, but it's also a workbook where the parents can actually go through the information with the child. And it has the kid's perspective on one side, the parent's perspective on the other side, a section for notes, or it has the possible diagnoses of the kid as well. So lots of information for parents and one simple book.
So we are here at an amazing event. Well, at least I feel that it is amazing.
Yes.
But Bill Walsh's event.
Yes.
And have you been here before?
Yes, so I am a two-time Rainmaker. So this is my second time at Rainmaker, and I love the event. Bill is absolutely awesome. I actually met him at a franchise expo. I had no clue who he was, and he saw a vision in me that I didn't see in myself. When I met Bill, I had just lost my job after working in IT for over 28 years, and I was just switching careers into entrepreneurship. And when I met him and spoke to him, he actually told me, he says, have you looked at franchising your business? And I was like, whoa, slow down. I just literally just started my business. And he says, well, you should look at franchising. And I was like, okay. I said, I'm going to go back and work into IT. He says, no, if you go back and work into IT, you will own your own IT company, which I knew I would one day. And so I said, no, I'm going to go back into work in IT. He says, no, the next time I see you, you're going to be at one of my events. And I'm like, okay, this guy's a little bit weird. He's a little bit crazy. So Bill knows the story. And so literally I get a lunch invite like 2 months later, and I get an invite from Bill Walsh. Had no clue who he really was or anything like that. I go to this event, eat lunch at Maggiano's, and then all of a sudden his face is everywhere and everybody's like talking to him. I go and I give him a hug, and they're like, you know Bill Walsh? I was like, yeah, I met him at an event. We were talking. And so then he got up and he started speaking, and he said who he was. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no clue who Bill was. And he sat here and told me that I was going to be somebody outside of just like being in IT, that I would own my own business, that my brand would expand. By this point, I had not one but two distribution deals. And this was literally in 2 months span. This is how quickly my business had expanded. So I went from not having a book when I met Bill to actually writing a book by the second time I met him. My book had already gone international under my own brand because I own my own publishing company. And then I had not one but two distribution deals, and I had just bought like the first 5 cognitive tools on my cognitive tool line. And I actually invited him to my book signing. And so I said, Bill, I'm excited. I said, my book came out. He says, really, how are things going? I said, it's great. I'm coming out with my first book signing. So he says, are you going to go back to work in IT? I was like, never again. And so it's amazing how our stories start off. So now we're affiliated partners. I'm so excited. And this is several months later. So I did Rainmaker after that, the first one. I'm here in Chicago for the second Rainmaker. When I met Bill, I had 10 affiliated partners. By the time I left, the first Rainmaker, I had acquired another 10 affiliated partners plus. In this event, I probably made another 6 to 10 business partners on top of the other 5 that I met when I was in LA, went to one of his other events with Dr. Scorpiani, which I met. He and I are going to be co-writing a book together as well. And I met him through Bill Walsh. So it's amazing. By coming to one of Bill Walsh's events, you never know how that's going to change your life, because the people that I have met through Bill are absolutely amazing. The partnerships that I made, meeting Kari, I'm actually going to be on ABC. She's going to be filming my commercial. Angel Tussey, she just helped me publish my 3rd book, which I'm excited about that. I would highly recommend that you sign up to be a Rainmaker, because it's definitely first worth your money. Second, the connections that you're going to make, like I met you guys through Bill, which I'm super excited about. Thank you guys so much. You never know who you're going to meet.
Yes.
You never know who your next partners are going to be. You never know who you're going to build a bond with. Because being here, I've met over 10 people that I met in Dallas that were here. And it's kind of like a reunion. Like, what are you doing now? Where you are. It is. It's like a family. And then we're all connected. We're all having lunch together. We're going out to dinner together. And so you make lifelong friends.
Right.
So it's not just an event. It's really a family.
So where can they buy your products?
They can purchase my products at bluebutterflywriting.com or on my Shopify site, which is bluebutterflywriting.myshopify.com. And then my 3rd book that just came out right now, it's only on Amazon. So you can only buy it on Amazon. I'm working on getting it through the ebook, which takes me about 2 weeks. And then for my second book that got released, the physical book is only available on my Shopify site. So the first book you can buy it Amazon, any place, plus my Shopify website as well.
You need to buy her books and definitely her cognitive tools. She is an impact maker. So please follow her as well. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your story.
So much. I appreciate it.
This is Irene Nakamura with Talk Story Studios. Talk Story with Irene. Mind your own business. Aloha.